Okay, here we go. End of the game. 1 point in it. Dan Edwards with a drop goal. And it's over. Rappi. Hello, welcome to the Rugby Update, where I barely watch any rugby all weekend and then I tell you all about it. Just like Clive. No Six Nations this past weekend, so let's see what was up in the URC. I did actually catch some of the Scarlets hosting Munster on the weekend, and it was a very clear indication of what the term squad depth means. The Scarlets have lost 8 players to the Wales squad for the Six Nations, so they had to call up randomly generated characters like Teddy Leatherbarrow and Charlie Titcombe. Munster's also lost players, mind you, but their B-side included players like Alex Nankivell and Archie Bloody Snyman. The result went about as one would expect, with Munster monstering a visibly less match-fit Scarlets by 7 points to 42. Zebre hosted Edinburgh next, and it was a much more closely matched game. Hosts Zebre went up early and stayed ahead well past half-time, only for Edinburgh's deeper bench to come back and win a normal game on a normal night with a normal scoreline. And now I'm forced to talk about the Lions hosting the Bulls in Johannesburg on a sweltering Saturday. Again, I couldn't really watch this game live because I was busy, but seeing the host trail by 20 points to 3 at 70 minutes felt like an all too familiar situation. At least there were enough people at the game to justify having an actual DJ instead of just pressing play on a random 80s playlist on Spotify. The Bulls showed their quality in a high-paced 25 points to 10 victory, which sees them now riding high at third on the table. Leinster hosted Benetton in a top-of-the-table clash that nobody had on their 2024 bingo card. Poor Benetton though. They were suffering from success with 14 of their players away on national duty for the Six Nations. Not very fair. Let's just see how unfair it was to Benetton. Missing Leinster players, 19 on national duty. These guys, they always have to go one better. Oh, you're missing 14 players? Well, we're missing 19. And the ones we have can't even vote yet. And we don't even know which Burn showed up. We just let the first one to answer the phone play. When will we stop these people? The perennial semi-finalists smashed Benetton by 47 points to 18, and now it's up to the Warriors and the Bulls to catch them. Yay! After that, the Sharks held an EDM festival at Kings Park Stadium, and a rugby match between them and the visiting Stormers broke out spontaneously. This game actually gave me a nice little throwback feeling to the days of the Super 12, when two loaded South African teams would smash into each other in front of a nice bumper crowd. Too bad the hosts have sold their soul to the devil for money and had to lose again. 21 points to 25 the result for the monkey paw victims from Durban. Next, Cardiff hosted Connacht at a soaked Cardiff Arms Park. Again, I could not watch this game live, but I did see that another Cardiff player got a red card for a bad tackle. That's 3 for the season, and all of those games were pretty close, and all of the games they lost. This time it was an arm wrestle against Connacht, and one wonders if having that extra man on the field would have helped them hang on in the end. Doesn't matter now, as Connacht left Cardiff with a nice 16 point to 12 away win. Glasgow welcomed the Dragons to Scotstoun Stadium late on Saturday, and as expected, they dunked on them all night long. A full-strength Dragons will struggle against Glasgow. A depleted one ships 40 points to a team that is second on the table. Sunday fun day. If you're an Ospreys fan, they hosted whiplash-inducing Ulster, and we got ourselves a classic. The current Osprey side is made up of children and cheetahs, and that combination helped them to beat an Ulster side that just recently beat Leinster in Dublin. 19 points to 17 for the Ospreys, with young fly-off Dan Edwards having a stormer. So that was a little URC intervention in the middle of the Six Nations Fallow Week. We will see the URC again after this weekend's single round of the Six Nations, which is annoying, and it is very stop-start and confusing, and I wish they would stop it soon. The news, eh? I think you better sit down. The first big story is your report card. World Rugby and a company called Signify released the Rugby World Cup online abuse report this past week, and your mother and I need to talk to you. For the World Cup, Signify or Signify or whatever analyzed over 1.3 million posts and comments and flagged 54,000 of them as bad or unoriginal or not very cool using a robot. The 54,000 were then checked by actual humans, and over 2,000 of them were confirmed as abusive or threatening, and they were reported to their respective platforms. The humans who did the checking had to be euthanized. With all of that done, 1,600-ish accounts were identified as bad, and 224 of them had their owners identified and confirmed. World Rugby are planning to identify even more individuals, and apparently some legal action is already being taken against some of the most hateful individuals. Now, you probably did not notice that I intentionally left the countries of origin out of those numbers. If you looked at this freely available online report and your first thought was, well, my country's pretty good because we only accounted for 9% of the online abuse, not like those mean Frenchies or Saffers, then you are immature and bad at think. It's like being proud of only getting pubic lice instead of the clap. None of those things are good. This report shouldn't even have to exist. Now that is obviously a pipe dream because people are raised poorly by their mothers, their brains are dumb, and they do dumb shit. If you like rugby and you want it to grow and do well and you want other people to join in and enjoy the game, then being a toxic fuckwit online is not a good way to go about it. And for the love of the game, don't go around sending threats to referees or players, if only because now you can get a criminal record if you do. Okay, enough complaining. Any other news? Yes, my work productivity is about to take a nosedive. Super Rugby is starting again this weekend and there are 3 games to watch during work hours this Friday. Our friends here in the south have had a nice off-season after the World Cup. I wonder what that's like. And they enter the next 4-year cycle with the start of a new Super Rugby Pacific season. There are many questions to answer, like will the Aussies get better? Will the Ndrua make the playoffs again? And can anyone stop the Crusaders? I'll believe it when I see it. And the final question to answer is, when will this rugby update end? The answer is now. I will see you all next week when we can talk about Italy's incredible upset over France. Geez, that will make people angry. Bye. Au revoir.